Welcome back to Tell Me More Stories Told Us podcast. Ready for a deep dive? This time, we're diving into the career of, well, a true icon, Serena Williams.
Absolutely.
We're talking about someone she's not just one of the greatest tennis players ever, but she's like a cultural force. She's totally transcended the sport.
It's really fascinating how her story is so intertwined with the way women's tennis has changed over time.
Yeah.
We're going to kind of take a chronological journey through her whole career, and we'll look at not just the wins, but also the challenges and controversies that really made her who she is.
All right, so let's start at the very beginning. Before all the Grand Slams, the Olympic gold medals, what were those early years like?
Well, she actually turned pro really young.
Oh, wow.
1995, only 13 years old.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until 1999 that she really kind of, made her mark. Picture this. 17-year-old Serena winning her first professional singles title
Wow.
at the Open d'As de France in Paris.
That's incredible. So did she just explode onto the scene, or were there hints that she was going to be this amazing?
Even back then, you could see her raw power and aggressive style. Like later that year, she played Steffi Graf,
Oh, wow.
a total legend at the Everett Cup. And guess what? She won. Can you imagine how confident that must have made her, beating someone like Graf so young?
Yeah. Talk about a confidence boost. All right. So we're starting to see those flashes of brilliance, but there was also a pretty unique family dynamic going on, right?
Absolutely. That same year at the Miami Masters, we saw the first ever all-sister singles final in WTA history, Serena versus Venus.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't just a match, it was like a preview of this amazing sibling rivalry that would grip the world for years to
It
come.
must have been such a wild experience for them both, competing at that level against their own sister.
It's kind of poetic how it all happened. Just a few months later, Serena wins her first Grand Slam title at the U.S. Open, beating the top-ranked Martina Hingis. She becomes the second African-American woman after Althea Gibson to win a Grand Slam singles title.
Wow. That's like a pivotal moment in tennis history. It feels like a whole new era starting.
You're totally right. It wasn't just a personal win for Serena. It was a cultural moment. Her powerful serve, her aggressive ground strokes, that unwavering determination, it signaled a shift in women's tennis. More power, more athleticism.
Okay, so we have this young phenom, already a Grand Slam champ. What happens next?
Well, in 2000, Serena and Venus hit another milestone, winning the gold medal in doubles at the Sydney Olympics. Think about that. Olympic gold with your sister.
Yeah.
Unforgettable.
I can only imagine. But this period wasn't all sunshine and roses, right?
Right. The 2001 Indian Wells tournament got really controversial, accusations of match fixing, and both Serena and Venus boycotted the event. Tough situation. It makes you think about how athletes deal with all that pressure and standing up for what they believe in.
It shows how, even with triumph, there's all this complexity, these challenges that go way beyond the sport.
And, that incident definitely shaped how Serena dealt with controversies later on. It highlighted how important it was for her to use her voice to speak out against injustice.
And speaking of using your voice, if you're enjoying this deep dive as much as I am, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other amazing stories on Tell Me More. Okay, back to Serena. What's next in her incredible journey?
Well, between 2002 and 2003, Serena achieved something truly remarkable. The Serena Slam. Holding all 4 Grand Slam singles titles consecutively. It's amazing how dominant and consistent she was across different surfaces and tournaments.
Wait, she held all 4 Grand Slams at the same time? That's insane. How did she manage that?
Well, it was a bunch of things coming together. Her powerful serve, aggressive ground strokes, her incredible athleticism, but honestly, it was her mental strength that really set her apart. She was just relentless, always pushing herself to get better, to win every single point.
So it sounds like she was basically unbeatable during this time. Were there any matches that really stand out from this era?
Oh, definitely. Her 2003 French Open semifinal against Justine Henin. So intense. Their rivalry was fierce, and that match was full of tension and controversy. Henin ended up winning, but it really showed the level of competition at the top of women's tennis.
Wow, so even in this incredible run of success, there were still rivals pushing her to the limit.
Exactly. And speaking of rivals, let's not forget about Venus. Just a few weeks after that French Open loss, Serena faced her sister in the Wimbledon final.
Oh, wow. Another all-Williams final. Who won that time?
Serena came out on top, winning her second Wimbledon title in a row. It really shows her resilience, her ability to bounce back from setbacks and stay focused on the biggest stage.
It's incredible how, even with the pressure of playing against her own sister, she was able to perform at such a high level. That says a lot about her mental fortitude.
It truly does. It really does. Their rivalry was unlike anything tennis had ever seen. But, let's kind of shift gears a bit. Let's talk about, 2004 and 2007. It was a bit of a roller coaster for Serena.
Ooh, after the Serena Slam, what happened?
Well, injuries started to, become a factor. She had to pull out of some tournaments. Her ranking went up and down. People started wondering if she could stay on top.
Wow, so even someone as talented as Serena, she hits these roadblocks. How'd she deal with that?
It's actually pretty amazing how she responded. Instead of letting doubt get to her, she used it as, motivation. At the 2007 Australian Open, she wasn't even seeded.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people didn't think she had a chance. So what does she do? She just blows through the tournament, beats Maria Sharapova in the final.
So she basically proved everyone wrong.
Exactly. That win, it was a statement, showed her resilience, that ability to come back stronger after going through tough times, and it shut down all the critics who thought she was done.
Okay, so she's back on top. What's next for her?
Well, between 2008 and 2010, she just kept racking up wins, got back to world #1, added more Grand Slams to her name.
Anything super memorable from this period? Anything that really stands out?
Okay, think about this. 2010, she wins Wimbledon without dropping a single set. The whole tournament. Total domination, pure precision. It was incredible.
I remember watching that Wimbledon final.
Yeah.
It felt like she was on another level. But, this period wasn't without its challenges either, was it?
You're right. She had a really serious foot injury in 2010, had to miss a lot of time. It was a big setback, and people were worried about whether she could fully recover.
So once again, facing adversity.
Yeah.
How did she handle this one?
With the same grit and determination we've come to expect from her, multiple surgeries, tough rehab, it really showed her strength, both mentally and physically.
And it paid off, right?
It totally did.
Yeah.
She came back in 2011, ready to prove herself all over again.
Okay, I'm ready for the next chapter. What were some of her biggest accomplishments in the years that followed?
Well, 2012, the London Olympics, that was a big one. Not only did she and Venus win another gold medal in doubles, but Serena finally achieved something she hadn't before. She won the gold medal in singles.
That's amazing. So she finally conquered that Olympic singles gold. Must have been an incredibly special moment.
For sure. It was the culmination of years of hard work and dedication, and it really cemented her place as one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Thinking back on it all, it's just incredible how she was able to stay at the top for so long. What do you think contributed to that longevity?
I think it's a few things. Obviously, her natural talent is undeniable, but it's also her mental toughness, that unwavering belief in herself, and her ability to, adapt her game, evolve over time. That's what set her apart.
It seemed like she was never satisfied with just resting on her laurels. She always wanted more.
Exactly. And speaking of wanting more, between 2014 and 2015, she did it again. The Serena Slam for the second time. Think about that. Winning all 4 Grand Slams in a row, not once, but twice in your career. It's almost unheard of in modern tennis.
It's hard to even grasp the level of focus and determination that takes. Were there any specific challenges or rivals she faced during this time?
Well, there was a whole new generation of players coming up, like Victoria Azarenka, Maria Sharapova, Simona Halep, all really talented, hungry to take her down.
But Serena held her own.
More than held her own, she dominated. Her experience, her mental toughness, that ability to, rise to the occasion when it mattered most, it was just too much for her opponents.
It's like she was rewriting the history books with every win.
Yeah, but even Serena, with all her dominance, she had her heartbreaks too. The 2015 U.S. Open was a tough one. She was on track for the calendar Grand Slam, something no one had done since Steffi Graf in 1988.
Wow, a calendar Grand Slam. That would have been historic. What happened?
Total shocker. She lost in the semis to Roberta Vinci. The whole tennis world was stunned.
Watching that match, it was like all the energy just drained out of the stadium.
It was a reminder that even the greatest athletes are human, Upsets happen. Nothing is guaranteed in sports.
But even in defeat, Serena handled herself with grace.
Absolutely. And she didn't let that loss define her. She kept competing at the highest level, inspiring a new generation of players along the way.
So even after achieving so much, she was still driven to push forward.
That's what makes her story so compelling. Her impact goes way beyond the tennis court. She's become a cultural icon, a symbol of strength, resilience, empowerment, especially for women and people of color.
It's easy to get caught up in the wins and losses, but her impact on society is undeniable.
For sure. And let's not forget about that incredible rivalry with Venus. Their matches were always must-see events, so much intensity, passion, and at the end of the day, a deep love and respect for each other.
It's a story that transcends sports. It's about family, ambition, the power of sisterhood.
It's also a testament to their father, Richard Williams. He had this vision for his daughter's success from when they were so young, and he played a huge role in shaping them as tennis players.
He's such a fascinating part of their story. I read that he kept them away from the usual junior tennis circuit and focused on building a strong work ethic, mental toughness, that belief in their abilities.
It's true. His methods were unconventional, but his belief in his daughters, it was unwavering. And that was crucial to their journey to the top.
It really is an incredible story of family, dedication, defying the odds. Yeah, it's really inspiring. I mean, they didn't just change tennis. They changed how we see women in sports, especially, Black women.
It's pretty amazing how much their story has connected with people all over the world, you know? Challenging stereotypes, breaking down barriers, they paved the way for so many others.
As we're talking about all this, I keep thinking about Serena's chase for that Margaret Court record, the 24 Grand Slam singles titles. She came so close, winning her 23rd at the 2017 Australian Open. Why do you think that record was so hard for her to break?
That's a good question. Some people might say it was just like time catching up to her. I mean, she was in her mid-30s then, and even the best athletes, their bodies can only do so much. But I think there was also just a ton of pressure, the weight of expectation that comes with chasing such a huge record.
Yeah, I can only imagine that pressure. But even though she didn't get that specific record, her legacy is already set.
Totally. I mean, 23 Grand Slam singles titles, that alone speaks volumes. But it's more than just the numbers, She's inspired millions with her talent, her resilience, her spirit.
And speaking of inspiration, there's 2017 when she announces her pregnancy, and then she has her daughter later that year. How did she balance being a mom with, her tennis career?
It was a whole new chapter for her, right? New challenges, new joys. Coming back to pro tennis after having a baby, that's not easy.
But Serena being Serena, she defied expectations. She was back on the court in 2018, made it to the finals of Wimbledon and the U.S. Open. No way. To reach those finals just a year after giving birth, that's incredible. Speaks to her strength, both physical and mental.
Totally. It was a powerful message for moms everywhere, showing them that, yeah, you can chase your dreams, even after starting a family.
Her comeback was truly remarkable. But I know her later career had its share of, controversies. Accusations of unfair treatment from umpires, and she was outspoken about, what she saw as sexism and racism in the sport.
Right. Those incidents sparked some important conversations about equality and fairness in tennis and beyond. And Serena used her platform to call out those injustices, which I think really solidified her role as a role model, someone who fights for change.
It's inspiring to see her use her voice like that, to stand up for others. Sure, she's not just an amazing athlete, but a really, a compassionate person.
And it's not just activism. She's a smart businesswoman, a fashion icon. Her fashion line, her business ventures, they've all been successful.
It's amazing how she's used her platform to explore her passions and build this multifaceted career. So, looking back at Serena's whole journey, what's the thing that really stands out to you? What resonates the most?
I think for me, it's her resilience. All the challenges she faced, injuries, controversies, the pressure of being a trailblazer. But she always bounced back, stronger each time. That's a powerful message for anyone going through tough times.
I totally agree. She never let anyone set her limits. She made her own goals, defied expectations, and in the end, wrote her own story. That's something we can all learn from, whatever our dreams are.
Well, this has been an incredible journey, exploring Serena Williams' career with you. She's a true icon, a champion, and an inspiration to us all.
And even though she's retired from pro tennis, her legacy will continue to inspire, for generations to come. As you keep learning about Serena, I want you to think about this. What is it about her legacy, beyond all the trophies and wins, that really inspires you? That's a great question to think about. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep telling those stories.